WTOL 11 Sports presents Big Board Friday, sponsored by Ohio Northern University. Your dreams await. And by Charlie's Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Doing it different, doing it right. By Frickers, the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. By PT Link Physical Therapy. Feel the difference and get relief now. By Renewal by Anderson. Anderson Window Muscle. Local 419 Hustle. By Absolute Mobile Glass. Nobody does it better. Nobody does it faster. Absolutely. And by Schrader Tire and Oil. We keep the transportation industry rolling and safe. Now, here's Tyler Segerman.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Week 3 of Big Board Friday, sponsored by Ohio Northern University. Another double-digit slate for you all when it comes to games we covered tonight, not to mention our fan cam and play of the night. So let's kick it off, shall we? Beginning with the Northern Lakes League. Non-divisional matchups coming into play. Buckeye teams taking on the Cardinal Division programs. Although these games don't count toward the championship standings, still affects playoff positioning and, of course, bragging rights. Fremont Ross entered the evening 2-0, but has yet to beat Perrysburg since joining the NLL. Yellow Jackets, though, not worried about that. They just wanted to get back in the win column following a tough loss on the road last week. And they'd have no trouble this evening picking this one up in the third quarter. Little Giants trying them out a comeback, and check out the pitch and catch here. Stiff and Ryder turn it up the sidelines for a long gain. A penalty flag, though, would bring this play back. Tough break there for Fremont. So we go to the fourth. Perrysburg looking to add on. Braden Heitmeyer getting some work in, and he'll drill the field goal right through the uprights. That makes it 31-0 in favor of the home team, and the Jackets would coast from there. Liam Nowakowski muscling his way for a first down here on the run. Perrysburg secures the shutout, 31-zip, the final. Whitmer Memorial Stadium, we head to next. Battle of the Cats between the Panthers and Southview Cougars. Each team 1-1. After forcing a fumble on the opening kickoff, Whitmer looking to punch it in, but then they fumble the ball. Adam LaPlaw picking it up for Southview, and the Cougars get possession but can't turn it into points. So back to offense, Whitmer goes, and this time Holmes. He's going to hold on to the rock and do some damage with it, sprinting past everyone on his way for a lengthy touchdown. Whitmer goes on to win via shutout as well, 48-0. The Battle of Route 24, Penn Anthony Wayne against Napoleon. Wildcats honoring its 2026 Hall of Fame induction class at the break. They were probably as shocked as everyone else to see a scoreless game in the second half, but that's because the defense stood tough. Lucas Navarre powering his way toward a sack, so the home team gets the ball back. And you want to talk about a game-changing play? Check this out. Kelby Parsons on the quarterback keeper, evades tacklers, and then pops free down the sideline. He's got a clear path to the end zone, but Cam Miller from behind rips the ball free, and the senior recovers for a huge momentum swing, and that hustle would pay off because on the next possession, Porter Brungard dropping it right into the hands of Miller for a 38-yard touchdown with under 6 minutes to play. Only points of the game as A-Dub heads home with a 7-0 victory. Our final stop on the NLL non-divisional train takes us to Bowling Green. Bobcats still seeking win number 1 of the fall as they welcomed in Clay. Now a fumble here by Clay would put BG in great field position. Levi Kello here recovering to give Bowling Green some great field position as I mentioned. Later though, it would be Clay's defense wreaking some havoc as well. Derek Harmer picking this one off, and he's got reservations for 6, taking it all the way back to the end zone, and that would get Clay an easy touchdown there. Great pick-6 effort. And then, of course, offense going to work as well. Landon Eckelberry at quarterback. He can sling it. He's going to find Brody Ostrander there in the end zone, and Clay goes on a cruise to a 49-3 win. Showdown inside the Glass Bowl. Defending Division 4 state runner-up Perkins squaring off with the Knights of St. Francis. We picked this one up in the second quarter. Knights up 21-14, but Perkins cutting into that deficit here with a field goal by Grant Hickman. That makes it 21-17 at the break. Second half we go. Nice defense picking it up. Sam Schweinfurth gobbled up into the end zone. And then later, more from St. Francis, forcing the fumble. And St. Francis defense big tonight. They get a big victory, 31-24 as Josh Linke's team is now 2-1.
Tyler, this game was anything but perfect. It was almost 3 hours long, tons of stoppages due to penalties, injuries, Head coach Josh Linke said there were already 5 starters out because of injuries, but in the end, it didn't matter. The Knights got the win 30-24, the final score, and they did it over Perkins, last year's D4 finalist.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can win a football game, you know, as physical as that game was, and as many good athletes as they have, and as how well coached they are, we're always gonna, you know, celebrate that for our kids. But we also got a lot to clean up, so we tried to give that thing away a few times. But super proud of our kids, super proud of our coaches. You know, super proud of Eli Beal and the way he ran the offensive line stuff. But we had 5 starters out today, and those guys did a nice job, just in general, playing good defense. Our defense, how stout they are down the stretch. So just a great win for the program.
The Knights start the season 2-1 once again, and will look to make it 3-1 when they host Clyde. But for now, reporting from the Glass Bowl, Chase Bachman, WTOL 11. Tyler.
Appreciate it, Chase. It's now time for our Big Board Fan Cam. We've received a lot of good submissions from you at home so far this season. Here are a few for reference. Obviously, the players on the field getting a lot of love. People in the stands showing off some selfies. The band. Anyone really is a good for this segment. Of course, be sure to send in your photos each week before the show. Get them in before the show so you guys can get included on Big Board Friday, and you can be highlighted here in this segment. Again, Big Board Friday Fan Cam each Friday, each week. We want to see your best photos from each game. Well, it's time for our first break in the action, but don't worry, still plenty more to come, including league openers for both Central Catholic and St. John's. Those highlights and more coming up next. Thank you, Whitmer cheerleaders. Welcome back. 2025 has gotten off to a peculiar start for Central Catholic football. 2 one-score losses have the Fighting Irish sitting at 0-2. But let's remember, they put together one of the toughest non-league schedules in the state. Tonight, however, would count toward league play. Irish opening its CHSL Central Division schedule with the preseason favorites Detroit CC. Second quarter, we picked this one up. Anthony Sylvester going to plow his way into the end zone for a score. That ties the game up at 7 apiece. Then the Irish will go to the air. Ali Beydoun here gonna drop back and fire deep to his main man Preston Frizel, the Notre Dame commit, who gets past his defender and then leaps up for a tremendous catch. He's used to seeing that. That sets up the Irish near the goal line, and of course they would punch it in. Sylvester again finding pay dirt. However, Central would fall in this game 27-14. They're now 0-3. St. John's also welcoming in a member from the state of Michigan. Titans trying for its first win over Orchard Lake St. Mary. Sam Harshman is a workhorse, and they fed him early and often here. He's going to run it down the right side of the field for a nice little gain, beating some tacklers before getting up there. Then later, Corey Hammock going to find Alonzo Rivers, who somehow goes wide open down the field. Nice little move from Hammock to avoid the defender, and there is Rivers, who picks up a nice little gain, stumbles though, so St. John's unable to score. Luckily, special teams is a phase in the game, and Brandon Pratt will receive this kickoff and use his speed to his advantage. Check out the moves, check out the legs, and there he goes. Number 33, adding 6 to the board. However, that would be the only touchdown of the night for the Titans as St. John's falls 42-10, the final. Heading out west, Gibsonburg seeking a 3-0 start to the campaign as they took on Delta in an SBC NWOAL battle. We picked this one up in the second half. Delta up by 8, and the half was all Marcus Nagel. Here he is, 22, finding the end zone on a scamper, 37 yards to add to the Panthers' lead. Later in the third, however, Panthers again giving the rock to Nagel, and again he's going to find a crease, and again he's going to find the end zone, this time from 56 yards out. Boy, can he run the ball. But the everything at Nagel isn't just on offense. He can show up on defense too. Ball gets batted up in the air, and who else but the sophomore picking it off and heading the other way. He doesn't score this time, but it does set up Delta in great position to score. And they would score a lot tonight as they go on to beat Gibsonburg by the final of 49-28. Here's Steve Iwanek with more from the victorious Panthers.
Well, for Delta, they came into this game understanding that Gibsonburg was very tough and big in the trenches. But in that second half for the Panthers, they were able to create a lot of holes for their sophomore star, Marcus Nagel, en route to a 49-28 win.
Marcus is just a sophomore, and he missed week 1, had a little injury, but the last week he started to come alive, and tonight you saw that. But really, I think he's going to tell you, our offensive line kind of was the player of the game tonight. They really set the table on some. Gibson was really big up front, and they had to really grind it out. And then, of course, he did some outstanding things as well.
They're amazing. there's not much to say. They're my family, and they'd die for me, and I'd die for them. So, tough game still. You know, I mean, I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of, and I expect to win. So, I never expect to lose.
So the Panthers wrap up non-conference play 2-1, and they're going to start NWOAL action next Friday on their home turf when the Archbold Blue Streaks roll into town. Here in Delta, Steve Iwanek, WTOL 11.
Thank you, Steve. A ton of orange in display in Tigertown. Liberty Center and its 37-game regular season win streak hosting the Knights of Otsego. Both programs 2-0. Second quarter, already a two-possession game when Baxter Barrett finds the end zone. That adds to the home team their home side of the scoreboard, rather. The very next possession, they're going to call on the ground game again. This time it's Garrison Cruz toting the rock, and he's a hard man to bring down, as evident here, making multiple Knights miss on his way to a 57-yard scoring scamper. Tigers running away early. But wait, there's more. Ensuing kickoff, Tatum Murdoch, a sophomore, going to redefine what they mean by hit, Liberty hit, lays the boom on the returner for a crowd-roaring ooh. Liberty Center goes on to blanket Otsego 40-0. That was a good contender for play of the night, but however, play of the night would belong here to Marvon Thompson, who goes up and brings down the catch despite getting hit from the defender. Yeah, celebrate, young man. Here is another look as Easter here. We're going to see these highlights later in the show, but Thompson, he is a human highlight reel. Up in midair, makes the catch, takes the hit, still doesn't matter. His nickname is DD, but this catch deserves an AA because he is a machine, and that is one heck of a catch. Again, those highlights coming up later in the show. And speaking of, one final stoppage. Let's go, because start looking for another emotional win here at home. Those highlights against Northview coming up next after the break. Thank you, Napoleon Marching Band. Welcome back. When you finally defeat a team after so many losses, a new energy resonates within the program. Start High School certainly felt that this week after tackling the hurdle that was Clyde, but then comes building off that momentum as the Spartans sat on the verge of its best start since 2015. Spartans looking to win 2 of its first 3 games for the first time, as I mentioned, since 2015. They were taking on Northview, seeking their first win of the season. Spartans down by 8. Daniel Easter looking deep, and you saw this play earlier. Marvon Thompson going up and corralling the catch for a great play. He celebrates business for start, and then later it's Easter going to find Darion Joyce in the end zone. He got his foot down. That cuts the deficit to 2. And then Northview, though, responding right back. Connor Pija on the slant finds Anthony Pedro, and the Wildcats in a thriller win 31-30. First win for Northview since 2023. Congratulations, Wildcats. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Big Board Friday, sponsored by Ohio Northern University. If you missed any of the highlights or want to rewatch the entire show again, WTOL.com and WTOL11 Plus are the places to go. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a great rest of your weekend and enjoy it.